Everybody, I hope everyone's doing well. Something came up and I thought it would be best for me to pre-record. I thought it would be best for me to pre-record this presentation so that you guys can understand me clearly, and then drop your questions in the chat box, and then we'll answer anything. Me and Camille will be on this meeting, as well as the SEM 4 cohort board. They'll be here to answer some one-on-one personal questions if you guys have any. Like, for example, if you're a secretary and you have a secretary related question, you can ask the SEM 4 secretary who's here. And so I first wanted to start off saying congratulations on getting onto the cohort board. I'm excited to see what you guys will do. And it's a really big accomplishment, so I'm excited for you guys. The purpose of today's meeting will just be to be talking about, sorry if there's background noise. The purpose of this presentation and this meeting will be to talk about how to get things rolling with the cohort board and what to do next, the next steps, what the overall goal of the cohort board is, and like the flow of things like that, and to answer any questions you guys have. So I first wanted to start off talking about the pinning ceremony. So that is the overall goal of the cohort board. You'll be raising $20,000 to $25,000, which mainly comes from the cohorts like dues and fundraising and things like that. So yeah, you'll be aiming for making that much amount of money, and the first thing that it starts with is the semester dues. So some semesters made their dues cost $65, some did $50, some did even more, like $70 or $75. And they also did service hours as $5 or $10. And I attached a contract for the people that want to be part of the pinning ceremony. The way that this process works is that they sign this contract, which is saying that they agree to pay the semester dues to help fund for the overall pinning ceremony, to be a part of it. And in the contract, you agree to a number of fundraisers and other events like social credits, things like that, which I'll touch on a little bit later too. And then I'll reach out to the president and the vice president about presenting a slideshow at the skills classes. And it's a slideshow to explain the pinning ceremony to the cohort and explain like what the reason is for paying these funds. And the whole purpose of the pinning ceremony is to have a more intimate, only family and friends way for you to kind of celebrate the really big accomplishment of graduating nursing school. And it's just like it's so much better than like just walking across the stage, you know, like the really big SJSU graduation, because this one, like, everyone can truly like be celebrated and like recognized the right way for like the really big accomplishment of graduating nursing school. And I have an example of this pinning ceremony slideshow that you guys can use. Further, the next thing is, so the money that's raised, the $20,000 to $25,000, it'll be going towards the venue, decor, pins, the brochures that are given out for the program, and balloons. Things like the whole cost of like renting out the pinning ceremony place and running it. And so the Constitution, I've linked an example below, and you guys can copy that out. It's a Google form, and then it lists out everything and you can see it, and then it'll be sent out to your cohort, and the people will sign up for it. Majority of the cohort usually does sign up, and that's your goal, because then you'll be able to like raise the most amount of money. And then another thing to touch on is co's. So in your cohort board, if you guys decide to add like a co-officer, that can be done during the second round of elections in your semester 3. So the event credits that I was talking about is there are fundraiser and social events that are held by each cohort that raise money that goes towards funding the pinning ceremony. For example, SEM 2 hosts 2 fundraiser events, 1 social event, and 1 other event where someone can choose to do a fundraiser or a social. And then if they can't make the event, then you set a payout fee, and my semester's is $5. And then the next step would be setting up your bank account. So remember that only the president and the treasurer of each organization can handle the bank accounts, setting up tabling spaces, and or communicating with the school. Next, we'll be talking about fundraisers. So some clubs and organizations will have like ideas already, so trying to avoid repetition because this divides your targeted audience. For example, say my semester Sem 4 selling stickers, try to come up with like a new other idea so that people will buy the stickers and people will also go towards your idea. That way, like, all of the cohorts can benefit, and therefore we can all work together to help each other raise like the money that we need. So yeah, with fundraisers, keep the syllabus in mind. If there's a big exam, maybe not everyone will be available to go to the fundraisers. And then when doing merch fundraisers, it may help to get in contact with other cohorts to make sure that those fundraisers don't overlap and that we can all raise money successfully. Yes, what I just touched on. And then next we have fundraising and asking like stores to host fundraisers. There are some stores like that ask you for a minimum amount of orders. For example, Chipotle asks you to earn $150 before you can get the money back, and same with Panda Express. So like if you were to make $145, you wouldn't be able to get the proceeds. So it's important to keep that in mind. Yeah, and there's just some info on like how to contact and a template to introduce yourself and explain your cohort board, what you want to do when you're contacting these businesses. And then in order to host a fundraiser at a business with the cohort, you have to be submitting a nonprofit letter. So I included the email that you submit the nonprofit letter to. And then for logos, if you want to have a logo for your merchandise and it wants to be the SJSU logo, just make sure that you contact SJSU or use this website so that you have the like rights to be able to do that. So lastly, or one of the last things I want to talk about was establishing yourself as an organization. So this will be done through RSO recognition. I've attached the link below so that you guys can submit your application to start it. So I just said like as like a rough deadline, try to submit your application by 9/21/2025. And because RSO recognition can take up to a few weeks, so while you're waiting for recognition, it's a good idea to start kind of planning out your semester, any ideas that you guys have, and things like that. Yeah, and along with the RSO recognition, there's a 2-hour Canvas course where you must get 100% on every quiz in the module, but there's infinite retakes, and I've done this RSO recognition thing, and it doesn't take too long, and it's not too bad, so don't worry about that. And then signing up with the SAMI app, you need the info of your president and treasurer, the constitution of your club, and 3+ members to become recognized. And then you can set up a Discord admin. So here's an example of how to set up your server. For example, on the left side, there's the normal like announcements, chat, and questions, but you can also add a separate channel for photos and memories, as well as clubs and organizations for people to join or talk about or talk to if they're interested in. Another thing is adding a sidebar for clinicals. That way that people in clinical groups can converse with each other if they don't have each other's phone numbers yet, and it just like is an easier way for everyone to communicate. And last but not least is the Instagram. This is an example of a cohort Instagram, and you guys can post like your memories on here and events and remind each other and kind of promote fundraisers and talk about going to study sessions together, and kind of a way to just like bring the cohort together on one page. And then I've included a like kind of rough to-do list of what to do. So today is the 17th, and you guys should set up a board meeting. It can be after this meeting if everyone's already here. And during the meeting, you kind of just plan how the cohort board will best operate together, talking about how often you guys meet, if you guys want to meet in person or over Zoom, the little logistics of just like getting together, and then go through the Constitution together and edit it, which is the document that I've attached from the beginning of the presentation. And then you can also decide semester credits, and you guys should decide who runs the Discord, the little nitty-gritty details. And then something that can be done on like their own time between the president and the treasurer is becoming RSO recognized and setting up the bank account through SJSU. I really appreciate you guys for working with me through this. I apologize for not being able to like speak and answer questions immediately, and that I have to do this presentation or this pre-recording, so I appreciate it. But I also have some reference contacts on Instagram if you guys are interested in if you guys have any questions, then they can answer, and they're like your go-to people who can direct you to whoever else that you need help with. So yeah, that's the end of my presentation, and I really appreciate you guys working with me on this. I apologize for this kind of hassle, and I hope that everything made sense, but that's the purpose of this meeting. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Camille, the semester 4 board, any other board members, or just anyone. We're here to help you. Okay, I'll see you guys in the text group chat below. Okay, bye.